Welcome back. Now, in light of multiple police officers who have committed crimes under gender-based violence, the South African Police Union has expressed worry about the mental health of police personnel. The union is urging the adoption of policies aimed at assisting officers, such as improved access to mental health treatment. To discuss this further, I am joined by SAPU National Spokesperson Lesiba Thobakgale. Thank you very much, Dr. Thobakgale, for your time here on eNCA. Just firstly, asking for psychological assistance for police officers. Do you mean in a sense that there should be psychologists at every police station on standby for police officers?
Thank you, Masero, for having us. It is indeed challenging, the reality that our members are faced with out there, and taking into consideration the nature of the job of being a police officer is not an easy one. You come across different types of crime scenes. You attend murders, you attend vehicle accidents where there's injuries, where there's fatalities and stuff like that. So as the union, SAPU, we have a concern over the collapse of employee health and wellness that is not so effective within the South African police services. And that on its own, it makes our members not to receive the necessary debriefing that they are supposed to get as and when they perform their duties. They are supposed to be debriefed. Remember, it is important that after every experience, a police officer should be debriefed. That is given, Masero, it is a must.
So, Mr. Thobakgale, do you blame the nature of the job and the scenes that they see? Do you blame the actions of some of those police officers who have either been accused of gender-based violence or convicted of gender-based violence? Do you blame the nature of their jobs and the wellness not being adequate?
We're not blaming the nature of the job. When one becomes a police officer, they clearly know that the job comes with those crime scenes that are related. That is the nature of the job. When one applies, they know because it is a calling. What we are saying is that they need the necessary support, because after one has attended such a crime scene and then thereafter they do not get debriefed, when they go back home, the same trauma comes, then we hear the issue of domestic violence. So there, where we are blaming management, not having the necessary working employee health and wellness, because members are supposed to be debriefed, members are supposed to ensure that they get a support that is supposed to be holding them when they are supposed to need, when they are fragile, they need to be given that psychological assistance. But we condemn any form. It is not an excuse where one would go and have a case of femicide, or where one would go and kill somebody, where one would go and be violent at home and stuff like that, because everyone has to uphold to the law. And one has to be responsible in order to ensure that as a police officer, they are protecting the inhabitants of the Republic and their property. Even they themselves, they need to be protected. So what we are saying as SAPU, it is clear that management needs to strengthen and also depoliticize and also demilitarize employee health and wellness, because psychologists and psychiatrists are no longer there at SAP's employee health and wellness, because they feel that they are not being able to practice as professionals. And that has a bearing on them when our members are supposed to receive psychological services. They are unable to receive them because there is no capacity at all, Masero.
Yeah. And, you know, in terms of you saying that the employee health and wellness programs are no longer adequate, you know, what is happening in terms of the Ministry of Police and their communication to different unions if you raise this? It looks like maybe they are they have expressed that they don't have enough funds. They have expressed at some point they had to renege on, you know, the promises of giving public servants more money for the 3 years that they had agreed to, etc. Is this what's going on? They have to reprioritize budget?
Masero, we have written 4 letters to the National Commissioner since last year. He never responded to us as a union. And if we remember, last week on Friday, we've written a letter now we referred the matter to the police ministry, to the minister himself, to say that there were issues that relates to police station attacks and also about the employee health and wellness of our members. Because we had an incident of Kwaggafontein where a police station was attacked. Instead, members were taken to be suspects, were treated as suspects instead of them being given employee health and wellness services that they're supposed to receive as members. So reprioritizing budget, employee health and wellness budget should be made adequate. There is no excuse when it comes to that, because one has to start by ensuring that there is employee health and wellness policy and structure so that you can attract professionals, then not to have them given ranks so that they can practice as professionals, and you make budget available, you make resources available for them so that your employees can be able to receive such services, and you will receive in return the ministry and the management of SAPS and the service itself would be able to yield the results thereof with having members that are healthy at work. But without that, if one is going to sit at behind the budget, then there is no commitment, because if there is commitment, budget will be made available. The 10,000 project where trainees went when we had an issue and we were vocal about the issue of lack of capacity. 10,000 project, the finance minister made it available after the president has pronounced during his State of the Nation address. The same thing with employee health and wellness. If the minister is serious about it, if the national commissioner is serious about it, they must make the budget available. Remember, Masego, they took 4 billion back to Treasury. So the issue of budget cannot be accepted by us as SAPU as an excuse. If they were able to take over 4 billion back to national treasury, it means they do not have commitment clearly when it comes to these issues, Masego.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking to us, Lesiba. Lesiba Thobakgale is the national spokesperson of SAPU.